Buonasera a tutti. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? And welcome to a very special edition of Calcio with Rino Z. We have some fellow guests, as you can see on the top, two Juventini, me and Gio, with two fellow Interisti. Sorry from, it's a, well, it's a really great pleasure to have back Mr. Anthony from Interworld World. How's it going, Anthony?
Very good. Good to be here today. I'm enjoying a lovely holiday away from two things that piss me off throughout a calendar year: Inter and Sydney, all for different reasons. So it's good to be here.
Oh,
It's good to
boy.
be here.
Well, I'm glad you're here. It's been a long time that we haven't done it, so I'm glad to be here. I know there's lots to talk about Inter, Juventus. Then, of course, my fellow paesano, Mr. Pasquale, another Interista da Toronto. What's going on, Pasquale?
All good, Reno. All good. Thanks for having me again. Hi, Gio. Hi, Anthony Worldwide, and all the people that are following us tonight. All good, Reno. Thanks for having me again.
Anytime, Pasquale. I did promise you so many times, but now I finally had a chance to have you, well, especially with Anthony. Then, of course, Mr. Gio, snooping around all over the world with his lies and stuff. What's going on, Gio? Welcome back.
Thank you, Reno. No, it's a pleasure to be here once again, of course, with you, Reno, and of course with Anthony Interworldwide, and of course with Pasquale. And I can't wait to talk about Calcio. You know, this is why we're here. This is why we're doing this lovely show. It's Calcio. You know, and listen, we might be, arch nemesis in terms of on the field, but off the pitch, where we're all good. So, what I mean, so hey, I can't complain. Having a great day, and I was very excited for this live. And thank you again, Reno, for inviting me. This will be a great live. Can't wait.
Well, no problem. You always invite me, so it's fair to have you. So, and it's always pressure. Of course, we'll talk about Calcio. We'll talk about everything. I know Inter, Juventus, they don't click in, but there's lots to talk about. So, before I get through, let's see who was in the chat, because a lot of people have been messaging. We got Giuseppe from. Oh, that's me. Sorry, I'm getting confused. Giuseppe from Canada. Buonasera. Grande. Then we have Moss, the great Moss. Buonanotte, Giuseppe. Calcio talk. Lots of rumors. Yeah, lots of rumors. Lots of happening. I just can't wait to talk about it. Then we have, of course, Mr. Mario Potes, the famous Interista. Grande Mario, buonasera. And we have. Yeah, my phone is acting a little bit weird. Giuseppe, we're glad you made it, Giuseppe. So we're going to have lots of fun. And, Mr. Francesco from Tutto Calcio. Paesano, buonasera. What's happening, Francesco? So, guys, I know there's lots to talk about, but I would like to start off with Inter, because Inter, man, we'll talk about Juve, of course, but Inter, I don't know what's going on. I'll let the two experts talk about what do you guys think about this Inter. Like we've been hearing Marcus Thuram leaving, maybe Fratesi, like all these rumors. Like, are you guys happy? Let's start with Anthony. Then I'll let Pascal talk. Like, are you happy with what you're seeing with this, with your lovely Inter, in plus the performance of Club World Cup and the future going on?
Pasquale, you want to start, man?
No, go ahead, Gito. Anthony.
Well, I guess it all depends on. The last time you refreshed your news button, because if you refreshed it as long as like 2 hours ago, you'll think that Hakan is staying at the club. You'll think that Denzel Dumfries' extension clause, release clause, has extended until the end of the month, and you'll think that Marcus Thuram is waiting to come back to training in order to make amends. If you refreshed your news 3 days ago, those three headlines would be the complete opposite. It's nice to see you, my brother. I think that the situation at Inter has gotten completely out of hand from a media trajectory, from an everything perspective, because when you lose a final 3-0, it's acceptable. 4-0, it's still acceptable. You can cry and still wake up the next day. When you lose a final 5-0, it's like a dagger to the heart. You're not going to come back from that for a while. So we all know what was at play. I've tried to issue an essence of like calma amongst our fans, but that's wishful thinking amongst fans in any football realm, really. My overall thoughts is that this Inter team is as broken as it decides it is broken going into next season, because it's still got a bunch of players in the squad that is capable of performing at a high level and winning top honors. The big question in the modern game is do these players want to do it in their current environment? And that's always been one of my biggest questions. I'm a big believer in psychology in sport, which is why when I read those headlines that Hakan never asked to leave and he wants to come back, I'm like, that's great. Hakan Çalhanoğlu does not strike me as a player, though, that wants to play at Inter anymore. Is he the sort of human being that's going to give 100% next season? The answer is probably no. In a position like he has in that defensive midfielder role where you need to win 50-50 drills from a physicality perspective in midfield, and he has the same recurring injury as a 30-plus-year-old, muscular injury in his right rectus femoris, in his thigh. I don't necessarily think Inter is in a horrible position, but we're in a position at the moment where a lot of players are on a teetering edge of whether or not they're ready to give the next phase of their career to this club. And if you're not ready to give the next phase of your career to this club, you need to make a decision about it, which is what Lautaro was alluding to in his comments. However, I am the president of Lautaro was wrong in these comments, because he was still wrong in airing it out airing the dirty laundry in public. I know what he said had merit to it, but like I said, I'm a big believer in psychology and sport, and I'm a big believer that a real true captain knows how to deal with these things a little bit more diplomatically. Would a Javier Zanetti come out and do that in public? Would a Giorgio Chiellini do that in public? Would a Paolo Maldini do that in public? Not. But I never put Lautaro on that pedestal. Few people do. But a lot of fans do choose to idol worship a little bit more than I do. And that's why with Lautaro's comments, as soon as he said that, I went, dude, wrong time. You don't need to pour gasoline on a floor, light a match, throw it in the room, close the door while you walk away with your 11 out of 10 supermodel wife, your 2 beautiful kids, and go on your holiday, you expensive ball of shit. That was my thought. You've created a mess here. Like, this isn't news. This might be news to you, but I've preached this on my channel for like 2 weeks now, and I've copped it from all directions. And Beppe Marotta is just to blame as much as it. But Beppe Marotta didn't start it, because he is more diplomatic than that, because he's older than that, because he's the CEO, because he's the president, because by his job description, he's allowed to say stuff like that. Lautaro's talking from the heart. He's talking emotionally. That was not the time for an emotional outburst just before you go on holiday, which is why Beppe tried to clean it up. And Beppe failed to clean it up because he's old, because he's sloppy, because his way of doing things is outdated. See, the good thing about Beppe Marotta leaving in 2027, this isn't a bad thing. A lot of Inter fans and rival fans are going, oh, what happens when Beppe leaves Inter in 2027? Mitsuki, how long do you want people to stay at these clubs? What, until they're 75? You want them to walk into an office, rotating walking stick? I'm not saying he's that old, but his way of doing things are over. You can't just keep getting all these players on expensive free agent contracts and waiting for them to turn in a rotating door and hold a club to ransom. It's how he left you guys in a mess, in a pool of contracts. He won't get a chance to do that here. That being said, we are key witnesses right now to the first time in his life where Beppe Marotta doesn't really get to do things with open hands. His hands are tied and he's doing the best job he can. And he doesn't look like he's doing a great job at doing it either. He's on an equal playing field as everybody else at the moment. Those are my honest thoughts.
No, I agree with you, because we see a lot of people on the chat kind of agree with you. Let's see here. Like Christmas, my problem is into getting older, divas, and you're bringing that to media and public. There must be a big problem. I even said in one of my videos too, I'm pretty sure Gio touched it on his show to Calcio, that Lautaro should have done it in the
locker room,
dressing room.
Yep.
But I said this for the locker room. Sorry, but I said this for a long time, even before the final and whatsoever. Everything was going to go downhill, but we'll see what happens. Pasquale, what do you think? I know you think different. I know you went back and forth on this, but what are your thoughts on this, Pasquale, on your lovely Inter and what Anthony just touched on?
No, well, like Anthony and a lot of all of us, basically Interisti, it's an open wound. It's a big loss. 5-0 is horrible. It's the worst ever happened at Inter, no doubt about that. But once Maradona said after losing 1990 World Cup in Italy, eh, they lost 1-0 to Germany to Bremen, right on a penalty shot. Maradona said, "I'd rather lose 5-0 than to lose 1-0 like that, right on a penalty shot." Now,
Yeah.
no excuses, no nothing for that. Inter brought me a lot of great memories, a lot of exultations, explosions of joy. See Bayern Munich, see Barcelona twice. The Scudetto delle Seconde Stelle, and that I have no explanation on the final. It's just so weird, like it's unexplainable to say what happened there. Like you can say people poisoned the food, or the players were against the coach, which I don't think so. It's just that PSG did a lesson of soccer to Inter.
Yeah.
Luis Enrique did scaccomatto on Inzaghi. In fact, not only Inzaghi, even he scored four on Xabi Alonso today in the semifinal of World Cup. He scored four to Simeone of Atletico Madrid. So they took out Bayern Munich, scoring in 9 men, right? So I see PSG very tough right now, the team to beat out there. And Inter deserved that beating. There's no effect. I think if they played another 9 times, it will be different story. That's what I think, personally. Inter lost the big thing that Inter lost was Inzaghi this year. The Italian media pushed him away. Even sometimes Marotta didn't defend him when he had to, but not blaming Marotta. Regarding Lautaro, I wish I had the 20 Lautaros I keep on saying to people, or 20 Barellas or 20 Bastonis. Like I still believe in Bandieras. People say, Totti, Del Piero, Zanetti, Maldini won't come anymore. I like to keep a hope, a candle open. And why not? We have a nice solid like stature of Inter with as long as Barella, Bastoni, and Lautaro are there, I'm in peace. Marotta eventually is gonna leave, right? For me, it's not a big deal. But as long as Zanetti is there, because Zanetti is a guy that loves Inter with his heart, and if there's anything bad happening with the owners, he'll be the first to leave if he doesn't like, because he really loves Inter, right? But I think Bastoni do it too, and I think Lautaro is on his 7th year at Inter. Scoring. He's the straniero with most goals at Inter right now. He lost 3 finals, same as with Barella and Bastoni, the Europa League and 2 Champions League finals, and he's breaking his ass. Excuse me the word, but all this in the World Cup, he went to play with the ankle injury. When they won the World Cup, he came before his vacation was ending to start again with Inter. That's true leader. That's leader of a captain. Maybe we should say that in the locker rooms. But guess what? Barella, Bisek, Frattesi, Çalhanoğlu, they were not in the dressing room. Somebody's playing paddle, somebody's on the beach in Turkey, and Lautaro is there trying to win, trying to even under the summer of the States, right? So if Thuram wants to leave, please don't worry. There's Bonni. There you go. We already have Bonni ready. We're a team that's getting has to get younger. And Marotta said, we need to abbassiamo I stipendi, and we need to get younger. Now, Arnautovic left, Correa left, and there's Pio Esposito and Bonni, already too young players, 20 and 21 years old. We have Sucic that came from Dinamo Zagreb, the new Croatian sensation, they say, and I like him very much. And then there's Kivu, but I don't blame Kivu at all. I welcome him. I was a #1 Inzaghi fan. You know me that. So
Yeah.
I welcome Kivu, and he's my coach now, and I gotta keep him until he's out. So now I'm with him. I support him, and all like that. I understand Lautaro's words. Maybe I would have said it on the other side too, but maybe he tried to say it on the other side, and it didn't work. So he exploded. Argentinians, they even have a heat. Not everybody's like Zanetti. Zanetti was unique, era único. But if they decide to go, who wants to stay stays, and whoever wants to be a prima donna, or the door's there, and let's go Inter, man. Let's try for a new year and to get back after this ugly defeat.
Can I say
Yeah,
one thing, man? Because I agree with a lot of what Pascal says. He's a
Go
little bit
ahead,
more
then I
optimistic.
can.
He's a little bit more optimistic than I am, but like he comes from a very
Yeah.
truthful place, no matter what. Like at the end of the day, like there's always next season. And one thing I will never ever be a fan that not only discounts ourselves, but discounts my rivals from next season, because anything can happen at the turn of any season. Anyone can have a bad mercato. Anyone can come back from preseason feeling shaky. God forbid, you hate talking about this, but anyone can suffer a real bad physical mishap within a season as well. So I like the way he gets behind everything. I think that a lot of Inter's issues need to just be solved internally as quick as possible when they get back, because it's been such a long time since they've had a break from each other. When I look at Inter, if you really want to break it down, it looks like an exhausted relationship. Like a couple that really needs to take a weekend away from one another just to reset themselves, man. They have spent so many years back to back, this team together, and they just need a break. And they've finally gotten their break. So I hope that they can come back rejuvenated and just try and see the positives of the, look at next season as the opportunity within the challenge, not the challenge within the opportunity. Because if you're going to look at the ladder, it's always just going to be negative.
No, yeah, but Anthony, you gotta understand that we come from 5 years that we had zero mercato, zero. With the Dzeko, Kolarov
True.
coming in, Mkhitaryan, we had zero. Now we finally were able to spend, and we got young prosper talent. Sucic, and we spent for Sucic, we spent for Luis Enrique, we spent Pio was ours, okay, and now we spent for Bonni, right? So now we actually spent for the team, and we don't have to worry about, oh my God, who we have to sell? Hakimi now, Dumfries. Dumfries another 5 days, maybe another 6 days, maybe, and then we can probably open another beer, let's say. But the market is being more prosper now than in the past 6 years.
Okay, so guys, before I let Gio talk, because I got some comments here. It's going wild. We got the vibe view. Oh, come on, stupid phone. We should have beaten PSG, Inter, but my board needs to get together so we can be where we should be. Okay, good. Good thing. Then we got Melon, of course. Okay, Liam. Melon, 5 bravo, because then Liam is going to get mad. I think this is watermelon. We are talking about Bayern Munich. Here we go. So the chat is going pretty well. But continue on. Try to keep it classy. Let's go on. Chris, Inter have a good, solid, deep squad for 5 years or so. Inzaghi saw writing on the wall or wanted the big money bag. It's over. Time to refresh. Sell recharge. Unfortunately, Kivo will be there to take fall. I don't know about Kivo. For me, I even told Anthony Pasquale. Gio knows my thoughts. I don't know. All I can say, good luck. Then let me see. What's up, guys? What do you think, Juve? We'll talk about Juve later, Dan. We're talking about Inter, but I'll save this for later. Sorry, on my phone and fa tutto schifo. Francesco. Zanetti was your Paolo Maldini. He was the only Inter player I respected and hate that club. Well, I'm pretty sure most of us hate Inter, which they hate Juventus, but it's okay. It's okay.
Their biggest legend respects our fans more than their own, and it will always threaten them. Don't worry about it.
Kivo did grow up with Ajax club, so naturally he is a smart football man. Well, let's hope so. If he can do it,
they're all smart. Yeah. They're all smart at that level. You can't get to that level without being a professional and very intelligent. It just so happens that it's the devil's playground, man. It's the playground where the smartest of the smart are made to look so stupid when you know that they're not. You know that Mourinho is the smartest of the smart, yet he's been made to look dumber than anybody, more than anybody out there. But he's the most intelligent of the lot.
Melon, you better calm down, so I'm going to put your time out. Liam, I'll give you all the right to give him a hard time because unfortunately this guy can't stop. I need you to cook this Gio guy. Okay, Gio, let you talk about Inter, then we'll talk about Juventus and everything. Then I'll let the chat go on and we'll share the lovely comments. Keep it classy. Go ahead, Gio.
Listen, I think with Inter, there is a lot of stuff that's going on, and it's not good. We all seen this. The locker room, Lautaro's comments. The drama with Chananoglu, if he's gonna stay, and supposedly he is going to stay. I think now, if I'm not correct. But yeah, there's just a lot of tension, and I do agree with you, Anthony, that with the I think that you guys, it's like a relationship. You know, you guys are like exhausted of each other. That's why I think, because if that's what's happening in the locker room, I mean, if Lautaro said that, then there's a lot of tension that's going on, and this is why mentally you guys have been really drained, and I think it's because of not the Champions League final, not because even Inzaghi was leaving. In my opinion, it was when that last day of that Scudetto, or the last couple of games, you guys had that long losing streak, and you guys were dropping points like crazy. I think that that's when it was like, okay, Inter is now pulling the plug here. But you guys have Marotta. Yes, Marotta is not going to be the perfect CEO, but he gets the job done with what he has. And I think if you have him there for at least 1 or 2, he could make you guys at least compete. And listen, I underrate you guys getting Boni. I think Boni's a great signing. I actually think that you guys, good thing that you guys brought in Esposito, because he's definitely another great prospect and a great signing for Inter, and not just that, but also I think with Sucic. Sucic is another great prospect that I think Inter could definitely do. I mean, so you guys are getting players finally. Now the thing is, my concern is the coach, Kivu. Will this team gel and will it click under this guy Kivu? When I saw Inter at the Club World Cup playing it, I mean, there were some things that I saw that was good from Inter, but then there was like a lot of things, and I think it's from the defense that is just not good. You guys are conceding way too much, and I even said that last season with you guys. I said that in the Serie A, you guys were conceding way too much than you did the previous season. I brought that up in the beginning of when you guys did that. And I think that in terms of, when you guys made that run to the Champions League final, you guys had that great defense, and that's how you got there, because you actually were, you wanted to focus into that competition. But I think Inzaghi got overwhelmed, and then also with, Saudi in the background, lurking for his signature, that also became a problem as well for everybody at Inter. So at the moment, I think everybody needs a break from each other. But in my opinion, and I've been saying this, Lautaro shouldn't have said that publicly. Because when he said that publicly, man, that is basically, you're telling all the Inter fans, you're telling everybody that there's big issues than just like what we see from the outside. There's even more to that. So I mean, listen, Inter, I don't like Inter, but
We all know that.
you know what I mean.
What?
Here we go. Here we go. He has to stop the.
Listen, I'm not starting nothing. No,
I know you very well.
I would have never thought.
No, but the thing is with Inter, right, Pasquale? You guys, I think, need a couple more pieces, and really we need to see how Kivu really does, especially with the new players that are going to come in, right? We'll see in the preseason, really, for the new season, I don't really count the Club World Cup as much because, like I said, the Mercato is not over yet. So I'd rather reevaluate, after the Mercato ends for all the clubs, and then we can make our final decisions and justifications in terms of for Inter. I mean, listen, I think that, there's a lot of people that say that you guys are going to, do well again in the Serie A. I think it all depends on if your key pillars stay as well, because Dumfries, I think, has a 25 million release clause. And if he wants to leave, because he got a new agent as well, I heard. So
yeah, that's
the thing.
Up to
Yeah.
July 15th expires that. So until next Wednesday, next
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, and if Dumfries wants to leave, I think he's been crucial for you guys, especially last season. He was crucial for you guys in that Champions League semifinal, especially that first
Yeah.
leg. Crucial. The thing with Thuram, I think that Thuram is gonna stay with Inter. I don't see him going really anywhere, even though I heard that there are rumors about Juve, which I'm like, I don't really believe it,
Well, even
so
Fratesi, they said, but I don't know.
yeah,
I gotta see it
I
to believe it.
I think Fratesi, I think did he just extend or something, or not yet?
He hasn't
Not
extended,
not
but he's on
not,
a
not
free
yet,
contract.
but with
Yeah,
Kivu he might play because Kivu doesn't use the regista. That he
yeah,
doesn't use like the Çalhanoğlu de Asllani. He plays
yeah,
with a 3-5-2-1, right?
yeah, no, yeah,
So
yeah,
so he might use him more. With Inzaghi, he probably would have left for sure. But you never know. An offer could come in, just like with Thuram, especially now Osimhen close to Galatasaray. But I heard Thuram, even Manchester United, is looking for a striker. They have eye on him.
yeah,
So, but like again, for him or for Çalhanoğlu, whatever comes, it's a plus Valenza. Even
yeah,
$1 is $1 plus Valenza on them too. So if
yeah.
they want to go, but I think Dumfries is close to Inter. I think he's not really tending to leave. So
Yeah, no,
I
because that'll be a problem if one of the
Yeah.
pillars, that's in my opinion. I think if you guys lose your pillars, it's not a good thing, in terms of what's good, because under Kivu,
what are the pillars, Joe? What are the pillars?
I mean, listen,
Okay, there
I
you
know
go.
my pillar. I know my pillars. I know my pillars, and I told you
listen,
them already.
Bastoni,
know-
Barella, obviously those are the bandiere.
Lautaro, Bastoni, Barella, the three captains. When
For me,
Lautaro's not there,
Lautaro, listen.
oh.
Mhm.
Lautaro is the straniero with most goals in Serie A and at Inter history.
Oh, in history.
And in Inter history, not only that, I said if Icardi would have stayed, he would have beat Meazza. Meazza is the first one over there.
Yeah.
And then there's Altobelli second. I believe the Lautaro can reach
Okay.
Altobelli on my thing.
Players,
Wow,
can I just say something? Players like Hakan and Thuram, they were signed to be sold. They've already stayed longer than they were intended to stay. A player like Hakan was bought for free to patch a gap over Christian Eriksen because God had a different plan for him a day he took the field for Denmark. And then what happened with Marcelo Brozovic wanting to leave for Al Nassr was an integration of Hakan Çalhanoğlu to the deeper role. Hakan Çalhanoğlu was never meant to stay, and Hakan Çalhanoğlu isn't worth a fucking dime over 15 million euros. He is never meant to be worth as much as he is right now. He's a good player, but he is not worth the sort of money that Bayern Munich were rumored to pay for him last season, and that Galatasaray were rumored to offer. Galatasaray were never going to meet a 30 million evaluation for Hakan. The rumors were always 10 to 15 mil. They never budgeted. But in another headline, they're happy to get 75 million for Osimhen. There is no way they would get there.
Inter's asking for 40 for Çalhanoğlu.
Nah,
Hakan
40. That's a lot of money.
Inter's asking for 40, but for 15, I wouldn't sell him. For 2025, maybe.
Me neither. My point is that there are certain players, like you're saying, are untouchable and pillars, but there are players that are always sellable because they were purchased to be sold. You don't get Marcus Thuram for zero, attach an $80 million release clause and go, oh, he's not for sale. Bullshit. You've literally said in plain writing, we're selling this guy and he's on the market tomorrow. Yeah. You want to buy him tomorrow? He's for sale tomorrow. We've literally got him on sale tomorrow. Now, nobody will buy him for 80 million the day after we get him for free. That's just not how retail works, even on a football level. But he was on sale the day after he was purchased because he had an 80 million euro release clause. Marcus Thuram
that expired now, eh?
I always thought he's going to leave.
Yeah, even Mkhitaryan is still at your club. Like, that's another one, too.
Yeah, but he's part of a dying breed of footballer where any manager in the world would keep them in their squad. The Eden Dzeko's and the Mkhitaryan, these players don't die because they've got something in them that they just want to go in the locker room and slap some other players across the face and go, do you realize the sort of honor and privilege it is to play football at this level for a club like this? It's crazy, and it's happening at many clubs. Part of dying breeds of footballer.
Yeah, there's all problems in every clubs. As we've seen here, the comments about Lautaro. Anthony saying that Lautaro will get 2 or less goals this season. Well, he's kind of at that age, so he might slow down. But besides that, I'm seeing the chat here. Milan is saying that what's his name? He was going to be sacked on December, putting all the jinx on it. But after all this Inter, I don't know how it's going to turn out, and we have to see if Thuram is going to stay and the other players. But
can I just say one more thing before we move on from
players? I don't know.
One more thing. We will be fine. Okay. We will be fine. It depends on what your expectations are as a fan. If you think we need to win the Scudetto this season, guess what? We're probably not going to be fine. If you think that we can qualify for top 4, keep a young squad building under a young manager and gain some light going into the future and keep our pillars like your Lautaro, Barella, Bastoni, then you know what? We just might be fine. So adjust your expectations, contextual to reality, and you just might be fine.
Yeah.
Why you saw that comment? Seem all are not fans.
And we still have Di Marco, Dumfries, and Thuram in our team. I'm not saying
it's not a banter era squad. I think that's why we're not shitting ourselves, Pasquale. We're looking at a squad and going, Nizika, it doesn't require open heart surgery, does it?
No, I don't think so. It can only get better from this.
Yeah, well, all the best. Interisti told me that we barely make top 4, but we have to wait and see. Like I said, I even told Pasquale, I know he's going to hate me after la partita sarà finita, but I could be wrong. I know me Pasquale go back and forth. How does it feel, Pasquale? 0 titoli, fallimento, right?
Yeah, Rino. I know.
Now you're starting, Rino. Now you're starting.
Rino, my banter is that my worst season of all, that I get 0 titoli, I finished semifinale Coppa Italia, second place in campionato a 1 punto, 1 point, and final Champions League. You know, that's not like you're finishing 6th, 10th. You know, we were competitive, and when Gio's saying we focus just on Champions League, I don't think so. The problem was we were focusing on everything. We were on everything. We weren't.
But then at the end, if you remember,
screwed up though.
But hold on a second. But Bastoni and Barella said they were focusing on the Champions League. We all know Inter cannot manage. We've seen with the years, because at least Juventus, like the Milan, win the Scudetto, even though they went to the final. You guys, like I told you.
we were focusing on Champions League, but we made it to the semi-final of Coppa Italia and the Scudetto to the last game of the week. You said fallimento. I said it's not a fallimento.
Well, for me, it's a fallimento. It's the same as goes with Juventus. Well, ognuno dice la sua, Pasquale, with tutto rispetto. Even Anthony said the same thing on his life, right, Anthony? We talked about this, but no.
This is where you just might show your age. It's the who failed harder debate, and I'm not here for it, guys. I don't care, bro.
No. Just in fun.
We all win sometimes. We all suck. Let's move on.
No, because you know why, Rino? I still remember when we were finishing 6th and 9th, you know, and 8th, and we were all these Interisti before. To say that was, I don't know, if that was a fallimento, you know, finishing 9th and not losing to Beersheva, you know, we were nobody. Napoli was named, Roma, Juve. We were nobody for 9 years. I was still there though. I was still Interista. I was still, you know. Now for the next 6 years.
Are the best memories. Sometimes you got to embrace the banter era for what it is and just live it and be like, yeah, we're right here in the thick of it. It can only get better from here.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I always say. Lots of fun. Guys, before I continue, I'll put the likes and subscription. And, of course, follow Mr. Gio. I don't need to tell you, which is funny. Last week, people were asking me, where's Gio? Where's Gio? Now, finally, he made it to my channel. Then Anthony will walk. Pasquale, you're going to start your YouTube channel, right? Pretty soon.
That's right. Yeah, in a month from now, I'm leaving for Italy on Sunday. Starting my vacation with the family. Once I'm back, I'm just gonna set it up all downstairs and get it going.
Grande Pasquale. That's good, bro.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I might
good.
get some
Then
tips from
me,
you
of
and
course,
Reno, Gio, and Anthony, actually.
anytime. Well, Anthony's the expert on the YouTube world, but yeah, he can give you a lot, no problem. Even though he's Interisti, he always encouraged me when the Interisti were attacking me, saying, I don't know nothing about Calcio, so, but whatever, it is what it is. So, is there anything I'm missing with Inter? We'll continue with Juve, then we can leave something on the Io Godo section, whatever.
Look, man,
No?
we're a bit of a basket case at the moment, but I think
Ah.
that we'll be fine because, to be honest, the landscape of Italian football is pretty merda the whole way through. By default, we're going to be okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You, Pasquale?
For finally, after 5 years, I don't have to be hearing that we have to win everything. So that's a positive thing.
It's
That's a
exhausting.
positive thing. Okay. Well
That's a
said.
positive, like, so we can, well, now everybody has to play. We can play all against together. Okay. So now it's not Inter has to win. Now it's on Napoli. The cross is on Napoli. Let's say. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. We have Chris going to a match, Pasquale. He's asking you if you're going to a match.
No, unfortunately there's no matches. When I go, I'm leaving and I'm coming back the 14th of August. So the Campionato will start the 24th. But so I'm going to try to organize a Fantacalcio, my yearly Fantacalcio. I have those 10 days. And if you guys are welcome to join, it will be amazing. You know how it is. You buy your 24 players, and we go through all the season, 38 weeks. Fantacalcio gets you to know soccer better knowledge of players and of teams.
Yeah.
And and stats and everything like that. So it even helps you, whoever wants to join the Fantacalcio next year.
Sounds great. Just one moment, guys. I'm trying to fix this.
Anthony and Gio, I want you guys in too, eh?
Yeah. All right.
Oh boy, that's gonna be fun.
Let me know, Pasquale.
Yeah, for
Cheers.
sure. I'm gonna wait for all the transfers to be done to get in, right? So we can put a list of players, and we'll get it going. It will be fun, even to put it on your live.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Okay. I guess then, guys, on the chat, you can leave the comments whatsoever, the questions. Let's get into Juventus, shall we? Gio, are we gonna talk about this Juventus? I know. Oh, you guys are already getting ready down there, huh? Well, the good thing we got this famous Jonathan David. I touched on it a lot last week, so yeah. But all these rumors coming along, it doesn't fit my head because you've been hearing so much about the Conceição that I'm really pissed off about the situation because there isn't any confirmation yet. Because one side you hear, they want to keep Rugani and get rid of Conceição, which I hope that's not going to happen. The other way, that Porto, 145 million, which I think Porto, either way, they're going to accept the lower salary. Oh, whatever is Juventus is asking, because me personally, I like Conceição. I don't want to get rid of him. Then Kostic in the mix. Tudor, you're giving me a big headache. Please, let's not keep this guy Kostic. And how many times I tell you people, I hate the Mercato because you hear so many things that nothing's machine. Now, with the Sancho situation, Romano says there was no deals. Then you hear Bazzarini, it seems like he's coming. I don't know if that's the case. I will believe it till I see it. No defenseman in talks, just a Laporte, but nothing official yet. What's that guy's name? They were talking, the one with the start with the S, Gio, Shaka.
Shaka.
It looks like, he said it. Based on Mr. Bazzarini said, the great Johnny Bazzarini said that he said yes, but everybody says yes. But it seems like Juventus, they don't want to close the deal. Either they want it too cheap or they don't want to spend money. I don't know. Like, I'm happy with David. Let's see if he goes through. Then we can talk about David after. But Gio, man, what do you think about this Juventus? Are we going to get more players or we're going to be competitive?
Juventus at the moment is fai schifo.
Yeah,
schifo.
bravo. I agree. At least we agree on that.
You know what I mean? Like, what can I say about our beloved Juventus, Reno? What can I say? I mean, we go from one
Una
player
caca.
and then the next day it's like, oh, that player, it's not coming. It's like it doesn't make any sense to me. Even now with the Sancho deal, now even Romano
Exactly.
did put out a report about the Sancho deal that the clubs are not even talking, and we didn't even put an offer up. But then it's like, but Romano said a couple of days ago that, that the deals are getting closer from Di Marzio, from Nico Schira. Like,
Well,
it's just unbelievable with these guys. Like,
well, look,
I'm sorry, these
Bazzarini.
journalists. Yeah, Bazzarini as well. Like,
Today he said
flip-flop.
he will be at Continas on the 24th, but I don't know. After what Romano said.
I don't believe anything until I see pen and paper from a player, or are they showing up at the Continassa? Because this is just ridiculous that Juventus, that we say the management says that, oh, we want to get back to top, show that you want to get back to the top, show, actually be a big club. We're acting like a
Sorry.
small club, and this is reality for a lot of us Juventus fans. And I'm not happy. No sporting director, relying on Comoli to do all the work at the moment. This is a disaster waiting to happen. I mean, this is also for Comoli to realize that we need a sporting director. Now, who is available? Well, you can't get Massara now. You're not gonna get that guy, the ex Bayern director. I forgot what his name was, but I hope we don't get
Salihamidzic, I think,
yeah,
right?
something like that. Yeah, something like that.
Ex Juve player, ex Juve player.
I hope he doesn't come to Juventus, because guess what? He actually sold Yildiz to us from Bayern, so I don't want him near my club. But in terms of with Xhaka, hey, I think Xhaka would be a decent signing. Do I, would I want Xhaka? I think we need leaders. We need leaders in this club. We are one of the youngest. I think we were one of the youngest last season for the squads in Serie A. So we need some, I think some experienced players, definitely a leader. And I think Xhaka would definitely be a plus in the midfield, and plus also creativity, with his stats. But like again,
if we get him,
if we get him, and then the other thing is the Conceição. That is pissing me off the most, the Conceição one. Why? Because they say that, oh, no matter what, we're going to purchase the release clause. Then all of a sudden, it's like now Porto is now being a bacala, una cacare, and forget about it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God,
I can't, bro. It's just, listen, it really sucks. It really sucks to be a Juve fan right now.
Una veramente cagata, bravo. Una grandissima cagata, bravo.
It all starts from the top. In my opinion, it all starts from the top. If the top is not working, listen, this is why I'm not. Yes, listen. Tudor wasn't my preferred coach. I didn't want Tudor to really lead us into next season, but I have to back him because he is my manager for the next season. He will be the Juve manager. It's not like we're gonna get anybody else, man. You know what I mean? It's like
Chris says,
Madonna,
little guys, little guys. Gio and Conceição. Yeah, you guys are. Go ahead, Gio. You have to
but
rent.
the thing is, it's just like no, it's just with all this, stuff with the Mercato, it's making it worse. With the whole, it all started with the Conte situation. Oh, we're gonna get Conte back,
That's exactly.
yeah.
No, I was convinced too, but I did explain what happened.
About the Osimhen, the Osimhen is gonna come to Juventus.
No, I don't think so.
Guess what? He's going to Galatasaray, it seems. So.
Yeah, Gyökeres, Arsenal.
Gyökeres, again, the thing with the Gyökeres, like that, I even said on my channel, I said dream. For Juventus, it would be a dream, a miracle if a player from like that's right now worth how much? Like around like what, 75, 80 million? Seriously.
Probably even more, yeah. But he even said he always wanted Arsenal to go.
Yeah.
He went to play Premier.
Okay.
Players also rejecting Juventus. We don't have that pull anymore. That's another thing we started noticing. But I think half of the Juventus fan base doesn't really realize that now.
Don't forget Gasperini too.
No, they don't.
Gasperini, yeah, it's another one. Gasperini,
Yeah.
another one that goes down the drain. You know, saying that people were saying that, oh, he's another Juventino.
Well, this is
He
all.
was in the Primavera. What happened? What happened now?
But whose fault is this? All such for
Comoli
one guy.
scared him away.
Elkan.
Gio,
Oh yeah, Elkan, more likely. Go ahead. Anthony.
Gio, can I ask you a question, man? What do
Go
you?
ahead.
How old are you again, my friend?
19, brother.
What do you study?
I mean, right now I'm doing broadcasting.
So I just think it's very interesting when young fans see a certain perspective from a club versus other fans. And I think that you're absolutely spot on because you're calling things out from the exact point of resources that need to be called out. The Conte thing should have not only sent red flags, it should have sent emergency evacuation, like there's zombies in the street of Turin level signals out. Like, holy fuck. We not only dropped the sure thing, we dropped the sure thing that we were ready to peddle as Jesus Christ, coming as the second. Like, this is the only thing that can save us. And we dropped the sure thing. This is a guy that could not look ADL in the eyes when he won the goddamn Scudetto on that day.
Yeah.
And we all know what happened. He called Juve for the final meeting, got off the phone going, they're offering me breadcrumbs. ADL's going to offer me the keys to the city. I can't jump ship. You said exactly the words that I was saying to certain people in certain groups years ago. I'm like, Juve does not have generational pull in the market anymore. That's why you're papering over the cracks of Pogba version 2. There should be no Pogba version 2. You should not be celebrating Angel Di Maria coming to the club. I love Di Maria. He's a good signing. But when he did sign for you guys, you pedestaled him like he was going to pioneer a team to a Champions League success. There have been all these cracks from the top and the regimes for so bloody long. And it was almost like a bubble. And it was a bubble that was waiting to pop. And it popped with Motta and Giuntoli. And I even thought that Motta and Giuntoli was one last good crack at it. Because the signings on paper weren't awful. But they've all busted. And now it's at a point where you really, really banked on Coop Miners paying his money back in worth. You need Douglas Luiz to work out. Forget the failed fact that Federico Chiesa went for bust money. You invested 80 on Vlahovic, and now we're talking about
termination.
That's another story.
That's
another story we should talk about.
How do you pay your $80,000 investment to leave? That's like buying an $80,000 Porsche, parking it in the driveway, filling it up with petrol, and then calling an Uber driver to take it away and telling him to never bring it back.
Yep.
It's nuts. It's nuts. But to be honest, that's just my opinion, man. And
yeah, no, I 100%.
No, I agree.
I
agree with you, Anthony. And we have Juventini that think like us. I've been seeing it for years, but people attack me when I point things about Elkan. You know because that was all his fault with the Conte situation, Gasperini whatsoever. So,
well, who hired Giuntoli? Who hired Giuntoli in the first place? Elkan.
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome. There you go.
This is why, like Pasquale said, like we need Zanetti to keep the fabric and the DNA of the club intact, which is why you guys need to hang on to Giorgio as much as possible. Because if you guys let Chiellini slip,
he just got to LA.
If news comes out in the next couple months, if news comes out in the next couple months that Chiellini has left his post at Juve, then it's like actual night circle of hell level shit at your club because he
Anthony. He already did it. He already did it. He already did it like 2 days ago and yesterday. Coming out.
Has he actually quit his post at Juve?
No.
He's not quitting. Nothing wrong with that.
No,
but nothing wrong with that. That he owns the
owners. He's part owners with the LAFC.
LA. Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that. I don't have a problem with that.
He's a shareholder.
Most Juventini said that he should leave, but that's not.
Obviously,
he came out in a I think a presser, and he even said that the priority will be Juventus. LA would be like I guess for like investments. That's why
he's already been there for like 4 months last season, and now with the new season coming up, he said, "Hey, what am I doing here?" Juventus told him, the plans, and obviously he's like, let me see what I got out there. What's out there more? Maybe he doesn't like what he's been told. He doesn't want to be a mentor in the spogliatoio. He wants something more secure. Zanetti. He
Yeah,
wants to be. I mean, Chiellini. He wants to be
Chiellini.
important. He wants to be important somehow. With what they told him, they used him like a manichino alla Maldini, like they tried to do with Maldini at AC Milan. So now that's why I think he came up
Well,
with this thing. You know,
if they think to
I guess
do
we'll
that,
see.
Chiellini won't take any second to leave. But I don't see anything wrong him going to LA. I don't know about Gio. Most Juventus don't see anything wrong. Like it's an investment, like David Beckham did in the past.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
yeah,
Anyway,
no,
I
I
didn't
don't
mean
see
to veer
anything
so
wrong with
far
it.
away from the conversation because I did
Yeah.
want you guys to get to the Suzanne Vlahovic situation eventually because that's a
I am
bomb
pissed
that
off.
does.
I am pissed off with
Okay,
that guy.
before I continue, hold on a second. We're gonna put the EO Godo section, the enjoyment section. You guys can put the banter, the questions, but we'll continue on with Juventus. So, guys on the chat, let's keep it classy because last week we were talking about pizza, hockey, pineapple pizza, which Pascal did not like the conversation, but we'll keep it fun. Okay, with Juventus. Gio, you go first with Vlahovic, then I say my piece, then
Uh,
the boys that are underneath. Go ahead. I'm going to let you rant that out, Gio. Why? Because you're on the rampage right now.
I know, because this guy Vlahovic, man, he's such an asshole, man. He is such an asshole, bro. Like for him to do that, to Juve, that he's been there for years now. It's just criminal, man. And the fact that he's rejecting every single club that's interested in him is making it even worse. But of course, I want to move on from Vlahovic, but having to pay a severance pay, but this is the standards of that Juventus have become now. There's not, and there's
It's
no
not
ambition. There's no ambition in the club. I forgot to mention that too.
some
Nobody.
modern footballers are just straight up pigs, man. And
Yep.
there's no other way to describe it, bro. They've got really bad agents that get knee deep into their ego, and it's at partly it's not the players' fault because a lot of these players do grow up in environments where they've had to struggle and they've had to work as part-time fathers when they're kids, and you get an unrealistic taste of what monetary compensation is meant to feel like. I'm sure I'm in the company of three very hardworking people here right now where we know the value of everything, every dollar, every fabric, everything that we have in our life. For some athletes in the world and for some people in the world, they just transition way too quickly from one world to another. And it just, they can't separate the wavelengths in their life. And this is exactly a situation like that. Taking colors and rivalry out of it for a second and pretending I'm not an Inter fan and you're not Juve.
Yeah.
You are Juve. There should be no player that treats Juve like this. There should be no player that chucks a shit on your jersey like this and says, nah, I would rather piss my own 1 year of my career down the drain and drag you through the mud because I still think I can gain from it in some way. And it's not an isolated incident. It happens all over the world at the moment in modern day sport through each code to the next. But he's not a fabric of the player.
This is even worse than Chiesa, Anthony. And
Oh,
this is like,
100%.
and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I never seen this before. I don't think I've ever seen this before, especially during my years of supporting Juve, man.
Not to this extent.
No.
Nowhere near it.
No, not like
Nowhere
this.
near it.
And the crazy thing is that now, with this Jonathan David signing, which we will probably get into it, Reno's going to probably mention about him, I think that he's going to be the guy that's going to hopefully, rack up their goals because we're going to need someone to really put the ball in the net. Somebody like Vlahovic couldn't really do consistently, and the only time, and I noticed the only time that Vlahovic would score is if nobody is like on him realistically. If no one is like right on top of him, like no defender. I'm telling you. Realistically, it's just with this guy Vlahovic, man. He scores one goal against Inter. He does that nice celebration of this with the media. Like
No, that wasn't great.
First of all, you haven't scored in how many months, and you only score one goal, and you do that. Do it consistently, then you could do that. I did. I grew up, playing You had to play and you had to do your best. You have to give your 110%. And especially for Juventus, you do it for the badge. You do it for what it represents. You know? This is just not, this is not, like I said. And if he wants to consider himself one of the best strikers in the world, he's not. He's not. He had the big potential when he was at Fiorentina. But how many of those real goals were actually penalties? How many goals that he scored were actually scrappy goals? I don't think Juventus fans actually knew about that. And that's what happened.
Can I just say, like, it's important to point out that it takes a special situation for someone's market value to fluctuate as much as someone like Dusan Vlahovic has had. Like, this is a player that Fiorentina signed from Partizan Belgrade for 3 million euros in 2018. 3 million euros. You guys spent 83 million euros on him in 2021, and not only has he not scored the goals that he needed to, he's missed some drastic sitters that you can only attribute to him mentally not being there. This is not a part of his technical attributes, because we all saw him at Partizan, we all saw him at Fiorentina. He's played like a striker who has not cared for a while. And when you have players like that treat your club like that, you need to sort of make an example of them. Now looks like a really good chance for Juve to make an example of him and sort of sit him on the bench. But at the same time, you're not in an economical situation where you can do that. So what also, it bothers me for you guys, but also makes me laugh at Vlahovic in this situation, is that he's the latest athlete to also be in a situation where he thinks he's going to get more attention than he is. No one's coming to his rescue.
No one's coming.
No one's at the door going, boom, 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 give us Dusan for 20 million right now. No one's doing
Not
it.
a chance.
So his ego is taking a massive hit, and now he's got the other devil on his shoulder, which is his agent, telling him a whole bunch of stupid shit to do. And it'll be another career that suffers from it, because in my head it was only yesterday this kid was 20 years old, ready to light up the world. He'll be 26 this year.
Well, we all thought.
Struggling to get his career back on the track. So, I'm sure there aren't many Juve fans left wanting to stay. So just piss him off and you'll be better for it. Put Jonathan David. You know what would be a great example? Get his number 9 jersey and assign it on the website to Jonathan David.
That was my idea. Take the number away from him and put it right on Jonathan David.
We did it once when oh my God, from one mercenary to another. We did it from Mauro Icardi to Romelu Lukaku when Antonio Conte came in. While everyone was like, oh shit, is Mauro Icardi still going to stay? And then I went on the website one day and I'm like, no, he's definitely gone now. So you can do that. Get his number on the website and get people to start purchasing Jonathan David jerseys.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying.
Well, if you look here at the comment from Chris Moss, a complete opposite Jonathan David. Angel fans will fall in love with him. He will never do this wrong to the club. Granted, total grounded JD and Canadian will never disrespect the badge. Well, yeah, we can see that already, but everybody's complaining about this Vlahovic. Me personally, I think all of you know, I've been talking to him like going at it for weeks.
If this is so bad, right, with the whole Vlahovic situation, now I'm very optimistic and I'm worried about, Jonathan David. Is he going to really carry Juventus in that front line? At the moment, I think he's an underrated striker.
I hope he proves.
You know what I mean? But I don't know.
Underrated, I can't say, but we have to see what he's going to do. But as long as he scores more goals than Vlahovic, and then look at Colomani. Not even 3 months with Juventus, he scored way more than Vlahovic.
Yeah.
So,
and this is why
his reactions and stuff like that, I just can't stand it.
Yeah. The deal for Jonathan David makes a lot of sense, and it makes more sense that you guys were the club pursuing him, because you clearly in the background have given up on Vlahovic, and you know how much money you're going to save year by year on the Vlahovic contract. Jonathan David is a free transfer on paper, but contract-wise, he is pricey. season by season, and you've got the agent fees that come with it. But those are fees that you guys would save by letting Vlahovic go in general. At the end of the day, the Vlahovic situation is very, very bad. But as Juventus, you still need to hold your hand up and go, this is a product of our disgusting backroom behavior. Who's signing these contracts? Who's giving these deals? Who's disrupting the locker room to the point where you're just signing a Dusan Vlahovic and going, let's throw the whole wage gap system out of space in the locker room and sign this guy to this major contract, and then let's just see what happens. Surely everything will be okay, right? No, not everything's okay when you do that. As fans, we think that things can be chopped and changed in this industry to the point where it's just obscure and bizarre and no one will say anything. But always try and think, if what was happening in football would also happen in your everyday office or in your everyday workspace, what would happen? And if the answer is chaos, well, guess what? Probably chaos.
Yeah.
100%. Well, we have Pasquale. He lives in Canada. He probably knows Jonathan David, but for me, I got to see it. Like I'm in the 50-50, but I think he will be fine. Pasquale, what do you think about Jonathan David? Because you follow him. I think you follow Canada more than he. What are your thoughts, him at Juventus? Pasquale. Can you hear him, guys? I don't hear.
No, sorry. Okay, can you hear me now? Sorry, I was muted, probably. Yeah, no, I was saying.
Okay. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, to tell you the truth, I really wanted Jonathan David in January at Inter. When we were going after him, right? Since we already had Buchanan, another Canadian that would have been good. Now that he's at Juve, I hope he scores less than what Taremi scored at Inter today, to tell you the truth,
Oh my God.
But
Thanks.
yeah, no, my hopes. But no, I think he's good. Would he do better than Vlahovic? I don't know, because the pressure is heavy at Juve.
Yeah.
Vlahovic, I'm sure Vlahovic, even Juventus wanted a player like Vlahovic on the team, because Vlahovic, we all know, he's not that Polo that he is. They make him look like right now. The real problem is the 12 million a year he's making at Juve. Juventus is costing 30 million to keep him. Just to have him in the bench will cost 30 million. Juventus doesn't want that, right? But that was Arriva Bene's fault of putting him such high raising to make 12 million a year. John Davis is gonna have the weight on Juve now. Every eyes on him. We still have to see Colomwani if they buy him out, just like Conceição. We know they got Kalulu, and now Kalulu was the first signing because they bought the contract, and now Jonathan David. Who's gonna play? We said about Saka. Saka was until last week all Milan. If we remember, Milan was on Saka. He has to come. Now that they got Ricci, they moved Saka away. But if he comes to Juve, let's remember Juventus still has Kefren Turam and Coop Miners and Douglas Luiz. So I think Douglas Luiz maybe has some Premiership values. Maybe he might go there to make room. But if you pick Saka, who are you going to keep out? Kefren Turam or Coop Miners? Coop Miners, you paid him 60 million. He's supposed to be like a starter too. So Juventus has their hands full in regarding for that. Another thing is everything okay there? Yeah.
Yeah, my phone fell. Sorry, guys. Do you guys hear me?
It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
And another thing about the Juve is Tudor is in the same ship as Kivu and Gattuso with the Nazionale, secondo me. It's let's put him out there, and it's a sacrifice, It's let's put him out there. Let's see what happens. So we'll see about that. But now we got to see what they do. We still have to see if Juventus is going to get Colomani still,
if they're
with a
going
lot
to
of
close
money
the
in.
deal. Yeah.
So
there's a question, Pasquale. Sorry, from the chat. Pasquale, Taglio, where my boy going? I hear Brentford is interested. The Inter.
Buchanan.
Buchanan.
Buchanan finished his loan on Villarreal right now, so he's going to start the preparation. And to tell you the truth, I hope he stays. But since we already signed Zielinski, now we bought him out from Roma. I I don't know. He might get loaned out again, and I don't know if it's Bradford in the Premier or maybe in Spain again. But I
see.
really have high hopes for Buchanan. Hopefully, he comes back pretty good, especially for the World Cup next year.
See, Inter's
Okay.
weird. Inter's weird. We think that we're going to get twice as much for Buchanan as we paid for him, but we're marketing Aslani for half as much as we bought for him, whereas Aslani has played 10 times as many games in an Inter shirt as Buchanan has. Didn't have a half a season injury as well. I don't know how the market works anymore. I'm done. I'm done with the market. I've got absolutely no idea how it works anymore, man.
Yeah, but
No,
Aslani
no,
you got for 10 million, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to. Obviously, you're not going to sell him for 20, but you can do a move with him, like let's say
I
to
think we got,
Genoa,
like,
right?
Yeah,
For the
we got
winter.
Aslani for about 12. But the thing is, like, if we need to sort the Hakan situation before we sort the Aslani situation out, like,
Yeah.
that's secondary
Yeah.
problems to me at the moment. You know, sort the big issues first, in my opinion. But yeah, anyway, Rino, I really got to go,
Yeah.
man. But this is
Yeah,
very, very
no problem.
enjoyable, bro. I really
Yeah,
enjoyed it. It was good seeing Pasquale and really good being with Gio again as well.
Hey,
Okay,
nice
thanks
having
for
you,
coming, Anthony.
Yeah, man.
See
good
you
to
soon, buddy.
Yeah, we'll
All
see you again.
no
Thanks for
worries.
coming, Anthony.
Ciao,
Forza
appreciate
Inter.
it. Ciao,
A
Forza
casa
Inter.
Inter, sempre.
Ciao.
Okay, ciao, ciao. Okay, so it's us three. Uh, yeah, we'll do for like 10 minutes, boys.
That's fine.
Maybe close it up with you. Maybe give our thoughts on Allegri's press conference. Then we'll close it up. So you were talking about Tudor, Pasquale. I agree with Tudor. I think even Gio. I wasn't happy since day one. Of course, I'm going to support him whatsoever, but I don't think he's going to enjoy the panettone on December. We'll wait and see. But if they're going to bring these players, maybe. But as Gio said, yeah, we're close to get
players.
Sancho, niente. Quell'altro, niente. So I don't know what to believe. I don't see a future. I'm not going to believe anything at this moment.
It all depends, I think,
So,
Reno. If
What are you saying, Gio? Go ahead.
yeah, I said if it all depends on if Juventus even make any signings for Tudor. That I think that's the only way that I see Tudor really.
Oh, that's
doing
what I
well.
said.
Yeah, that's the only way I could see him do that. You know, is if we make some signings for Tudor, and they have to be very good signings, spot on signings. Because if they're not, and if they're going to be like what happened with Coop Miners and Douglas Luiz, and Fashkifo, wrap the season up and just throw it away, because it's not a good look at the moment for our club. Not a good look. You know?
And not only that, Gio, you have to even
I said
start
that
looking.
for months.
Juventus, I think, still has to be looking
ahead,
even
Pasquale.
Juventus has to be looking even for a defender, right? Because we know Bremer is good, but will he come back after a serious injury like that, like he had? Let's see. Look at Chiesa. What happened to
It
him,
will
right?
take time.
So it will take time. We don't know. You don't know
Well,
if
they
you're
were
gonna have
talking
that
about
Bremer.
Laporte. No.
Yeah, there was reports even on Hansko, Balerdi.
Yeah,
from Marseille.
Laporte, but nothing yet.
I
So I
don't
don't know what's going on
like
on
I
the
said,
defense.
Pasquale, Juventus is not making moves, and this is all going on in the management, not on Tudor. In my opinion, Tudor is okay, but it's on the management. The management for me is a big problem. If you don't have a working management that is really like clicking in that department, then it's not going to work in that sporting department. Well, we've seen it with many teams. When Inter was in their banter era, let's go back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like
All
Milan
started from the
last year.
ownership. Milan, they get rid of one of their pillars, Maldini. What happened? But they did a very good job in signing Dare, which I rate highly.
Yeah.
He signed Dare, and he's done a beautiful job in terms of the Mercato. Now, will it all click under Mr. Allegri? That's a different story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But not only that, not only that, Tare, Allegri, and you play once a week, right?
Exactly.
You only focus on one thing. Yeah, that's why I pushed them. And they still have Magnan, they still have Leao, right?
Yeah.
A Modric that for me is like a De Bruyne, right? They're still amazing players. Will they hold up 38 games, 40 games? We gotta see, right? So it'll be interesting. But Juve shouldn't have a problem like staying on top of Lazio and Roma. and especially
Let's
Atalanta
hope so.
this year, right?
I think we would challenge for top 4 with
Yeah.
Inter. That's in my opinion. I think we would challenge top 4 with Inter because, like
Yeah.
I said, both of
Inter and
our coaches,
Roma.
both of our coaches, they don't concern. It's like I said, they're not, those big coaches like we once had, for example. I mean, they're not
Yeah.
that great. But who knows? Like I said, if Juventus gets the right players, because listen, Tudor does have at least experience at Marseille. You could give him that whole season that he did. He got second, but it's a different league. So we would have to see what the players that he would get. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he did great. He did. Tudor did great even at Verona. With Verona, he had a
Verona.
nice season.
But Lazio, Udinese, no. Other clubs, he went off right away. So
Yeah.
I just don't know what this Tudor and Juventus. It's going to be a lots of years of struggling. But of course, let's hope for the better.
We need Agnelli back. We need somebody.
Well, we'll
with
see.
both
That's another dream, Gio. That's another dream.
We will find out. We will find out in November. We will find out because that is going to be the most important thing. Because Agnelli, he has ambition. Elkan does not. Bro. Like it's like if he's focusing more on Ferrari than he is.
It's even failing.
I mean, and it's failing at
Gio.
Ferrari. You know what I mean?
Gio, speaking about Ferrari, he did the same thing that he did to Juve in 2018 by getting Hamilton, right?
There you go.
It's
Yeah,
like getting
exactly.
There you go.
getting Cristiano Ronaldo when he was already all over and done with, but expensive, right?
Why would he get rid of Carlos Sainz, right? And this is F1 talk, and I know it's more of a Calcio talk, but you know what I'm saying, right? You get rid of Carlos Sainz, and then after that, you get Hamilton. Makes no
and you
sense.
get the same result basically, right? So
Yep. No, but it's disappointing, but this is all on Elkan. All on him, and then the guys under him.
I'm glad me and you agree on this, Gio, because there's a lot of your fans attack me when I talk about Elkan, but I respect their opinion. It's enough.
No, because they don't understand the Juventus fan base. I go back with them on Twitter. They don't understand. They don't understand. They don't understand. Get it through your brain. Juventus fans.
To each their own.
Listen, no, it's because it's been years now since Elkan has really now fully taken the reins. Where have we been? Not even sniffing the Scudetto. Sniffing it.
I want to be the devil's advocate here on Elkan. I want to speccia una freccia on Elkan here. Yeah, he's been in the past. He wasn't interrogated before because there was Agnelli, there was Paratici, there was Marotta, right? But now, every time in the past years, Juventus did over 700 million in loans. Like, I need money. Here you are. I need money. Here you are. I need money. Here you are. Even this year, they're just going to put another 150 million probably.
Yep. Yeah, but he doesn't spend it properly.
Yep.
No, because he's not a soccer guy, but he always opened the bank. Before, Juventus used to buy, like I said, he used to buy Zidane at 5 million and sell him at 80, right?
Now it's like, we don't have that.
Now you go buy the champions and it's not. We need to make them again, right? That's what I think. That's where Inter's trying to go in that direction. We're starting again young, right?
Yep.
When the 20-21-year-olds and stuff like enough of Dzeko, enough of Darmians, Mkhitaryan's, Kolarov, try to go young and keep the low budget, and let's see what we can do, man. Just hopes up, and hopefully stay competitive. Because it's nice to stay competitive. Then at the end, if you win, you win. We lost this year, but we were competitive, and that's it lasted me all season until May, until I got the Mazzata, right? But at least I'm sure Juventus wanted to be more competitive, not to be like
obviously
in January and say we're out of the Champions League or Coppa Italia without, to be in there during the season and not have to watch. That's the important thing, right?
But
at the end, there's going to be one winner.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with you. But this was even happening when Motta and Giuntoli were there, right? And then Giuntoli made the stupid signings in January. Lloyd Kelly, Alberto Costa. We didn't even use him until the Club World Cup. That says a lot of where we are at. You know what I mean? The signings for me, like I said, the summer from last season, Okay, those were statement signings, but
but they weren't
they weren't. Like I said,
concrete.
they're not the concrete. They're not clicking with this Juve.
No.
And the fact that the management didn't see that right away and made adjustments, you know what I'm saying? Then it's not good. You know what I mean? And that's not good. And yeah, no, I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed, of course, in the management more than I think with the coach. But I think also it has to be on the players too. You're playing for Juventus. You're not playing for these with all due respect, lower teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Even the players
This is
should.
Juventus, man. It's the caliber of players that we are signing to. This is the biggest mistake. We're not signing like how, for example, PSG. They knew right away. Hey, if we get Cavara, imagine Cavara, Dembele, because Dembele could play that, and then you got because I saw them today, Pasquale. I was at the game. Madonna mia, I was the way that team transformed, right, Pasquale, from the half of the year. They made adjustments and they made major signings. Boom, it clicked like that.
Yeah, remember they were having a hard time even trying to make the playoffs.
Exactly,
right? Like just like Real Madrid.
Exactly.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's the levels. That's the levels. What I'm trying to say. If Juventus is such a big club right now, which historically we are, but like I said,
another thing that's missing that we started talking. We did an example with Lautaro, right? Oh, he should have stayed quiet. But we saw the grinta, the garra. They came out. He wanted. He's pissed. I don't see this in Juventus players. Like when they're pissed, they're pushing. Like nobody's like Di Gregorio grabbing people by the neck. Hey, move on. The leadership. I don't see this leadership in Juventus, and I'm not expecting. Maybe Gatti, right? Yeah. I'm trying to think out of the bubble, but it's Gatti, right? We need more of those players. Juventus, they're really
I went to the Juve game in Philly, right? This guy, I'm looking at him. This guy is jogging back. He's jogging, Pasquale. I was like, there's no way that this guy, Cambiaso, the one that was getting so much hype to go to Manchester City, if we all not all remember,
60 million,
jogging back. But that also goes with the motivation too, and where the club is at, because we're not competing. We haven't been competing in years. You could say that Allegri, that last Allegri season, that we were competing in terms of the Scudetto to half of the season. No, I don't count that. In my opinion, you go for the full on. Like how, for example, how you guys did. That's better.
Yeah.
But we're not in the position yet.
Remember what Allegri asked in January. He was un punto dietro l'Inter. He goes, please give me Bonaventura. Give me that midfielder. Yeah. He shows up with Jallo and Alcaraz. Right? He didn't know what to do with it.
Another one.
Right?
Another.
That already Allegri knew.
That's
goes, okay, they're against me. They're against me right now. Okay, whatever. I gotta do whatever I have. Right? Yep. And not everybody, let's say even Rabiot, right? That we were trying to people to say the money, they're going for the money. Rabiot left Juve, listened to his mother, and to do what? He was a good player at Juve. Juventus could have used him. No, you wanted more money, and you went to get less now at Marseille. And he's getting less because nobody was accommodating him. So you got to watch out where to go, who wants you. Don't look at Skriniar at Inter. You were somebody. People loved you. Then you go to PSG. Then you went to Fenerbahce in Turkey, and now you're praying Napoli to come back in Italy, right?
Yeah.
So they got to watch out too.
Yeah.
Guys, sorry, I have to go. Sorry, I have to close it like this, but I know we can stay here till 3 a.m. Sorry, but thank you all. Chat, you guys were wonderful. Pasquale, thanks again. I'll have you back again, hopefully.
No problem. It's been a slice.
That's nice. Gio, thank you so much. Until then, sempre Forza Juve fino alla fine. Forza Italia. Pasquale, you can see your piece. And like and subscribe to G. Okay. And Pasquale, and ci vediamo prossimamente. The next 2 weeks, I might do once a week, but then after the 26th, I'll be out of town. So, ciao ciao e arrivederci, ragazzi.